Bottom line is Kamala Harris, I believe she's going to win because I cannot believe, I just cannot believe that America would do this. I can't believe that they would put Donald back into power. Maybe I'll wake up Wednesday morning and find differently, but that's how I'm getting through the next couple of days. And I literally can't think of a better group of people to spend this, what is seriously going to be one of the most, well, actually the most historic day in my lifetime. So to be able to spend it with all of you brings me joy, regardless of what happens, but we're going to win. So I'm going to go vote. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Mary Trump Media's coverage of the 2024 presidential election with the Nerd Avengers. It is so good to be here with all of you. It has been an incredibly long, hard road we've been down together. So we are grateful to have you with us. And it may be a long night. We may not know for a while what the results are going to be. It may be very stressful. It has been stressful. So all of that having been said, let's all give ourselves a little bit of room tonight. Let's be kind to ourselves. Let's be kind to each other.
Turnout is off the charts all across Michigan. That's it. That's the tweet. So that helped me. I was bullish. Yesterday I woke up and I was like, don't effing rain on my parade. We got this. And I really felt it. And I think that came from the Iowa poll, Mary, the Ann Selzer poll, and also Nancy Pelosi announcing that Hakeem Jeffries was going to be Speaker of the House, which is obviously critical for January 6th. And someone in the chat freaked me out because they're like, I don't know, something someone said freaked me out that Fox News was going to call it early and Donald's going to claim all kinds of, shenanigans. And that made my heart race. And then I calmed down again because I saw Nancy Pelosi had said, we're going to win the House. And then I saw Jocelyn Benson and I went for a very long walk around the neighborhood. And I found something out, Mary. The sun sets on the East Coast an hour before here, even though we are in the same time zone. I called Michael and I'm like, I'm going for a walk because it's really dark out. I'm like, no, it's still daylight. So we totally cheated.
How globes work.
Yeah, but why are we? Well, we are the East time zone. I know.
Because the world turns.
Well, I feel the brightness. I think it's going to be a landslide. Oh. And I already have my map for Harris. And by landslide,
popular vote or electoral college?
I'm only focused on the electoral college because she is, of course, going to win the popular vote.
Okay. I agree.
Yeah. And I know she's going to have well over 270. And I just don't know when the news stations are going to feel comfortable calling. I can wait till Saturday. I'm cool. I'm cool with waiting. So that's where my mindset is, other than the people calling in bomb threats. Other than that, I'm doing okay after all the 9 years rushing up into my throat this afternoon, and I thought I was going to die. So I'm good now.
Hey, for the first time in my life, I felt deeply anxious when I voted. Like I woke up at 4:00 in the morning. I didn't feel well. Luckily, I went back to sleep, and I woke up feeling okay. Like we got this kind of, and then, I went to vote. I feel proud of being an American citizen is when I vote. Not very often other times, but definitely on election
every
day.
2 years.
Which is why I don't know, man. I just got overcome with anxiety. I almost felt like I was taking my life in my hands or something, which seems weird. And then I felt okay again, and I planned for all contingencies. I brought lots of snacks, which I don't typically like. I don't eat junk food. I have Cool Ranch Doritos. I will not lie.
I believe the only question, inshallah, will be is how much will Kamala Harris win by? I believe she's at 270 already with what we've seen in Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, Nevada. If you've been looking at it, going more and more blue. I think that's 276. Georgia, North Carolina. I think it will break towards her, as we've seen early indications. And if you look at the exit polls right now on CNN, MSNBC, overwhelmingly, where Democrats take the advantage. And this is where, if I may, I feel uncharacteristically bold and confident today, even though I'm a son of immigrants. Allow me to peacock. Maybe we can peacock. I know it's a bit early. Top issue, folks. Democracy. We said it would be a kitchen table issue. Democrats a couple years ago said that people wouldn't care. And then the other issue, wait for it, where it's completely lopsided, women's right to choose. And those two issues in particular will be, I think, that what will make a lot of people break. And of course, Donald Trump being the October surprise and in the final 2 weeks of his campaign couldn't help it. He's a racist, surrounds himself with racists. So thank you, Tony Hinchcliffe, and the cadre of mediocre, fake alpha MAGA buffoons and the rally, because women and Puerto Ricans were paying attention. And what is, I know everyone's freaking out. Just wait, take a chai, breathe. I think she's got this, inshallah. It's just a matter of how much. I am also going to predict that Dems take the House. Nancy Pelosi earlier said it. Nancy Pelosi does not speak out of line. She speaks only when she's counted the votes. And I'll also be bullish, and I believe they hold the Senate 50. That's how I'm feeling.
Yeah, I can't disagree. I mean, I don't want to get
the part that is painful for us, and I think we should acknowledge, is the fact that it's even close. And that's because of white supremacy, that's because of misogyny, and that's because of the radicalizing effect of right-wing media that has brainwashed a third of our population. And I think, Mary, I've said it on your show before, I don't think we're going to win them over in my lifetime, which is why this is the beginning of the long walk home. But those 2.5 months, ground game was fantastic. The social media game was fantastic. The messaging was fantastic.
Joe Biden, if this is successful, this has been one of the most successful presidencies of my lifetime. And I think Joe Biden should be thanked for what he's done.
That they didn't, because they were so, like Donald saying he's going to win in a landslide. I mean, okay, fine. But
as of right now, with about 65 to 67% of the votes in, Kamala Harris is narrowly winning suburban Hamilton County, Indiana. For perspective, Trump won it by 7 in 2020. And Iowa, folks, the Selzer poll that came out 2 days ago, which is an A+ near bullseye poll, she's like 9 out of 10. She predicted a +3 Harris win. Nobody had Iowa on the map. People said, okay, maybe even if she loses, the fact that Iowa is in play, well, Johnson County, Iowa's most Democratic county, is on track to shatter record turnout tonight. That's, folks, Indiana. I didn't talk about Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. I'm talking about Iowa and Indiana.
AP just called it for Indiana, called it for Donald in Indiana, Kentucky, and for Harris in Vermont.
Wait, so Brian, hold on. No. Wait, hold on. We're not ready for this yet. Hang on a second. Okay. Just so you guys know, polls in, hang on. Georgia closed at 7. 7:30 North Carolina closes. So you guys should.
It is, Brian is correct. It has been called by AP, but everyone else is saying it's still too early to call Indiana. So I just wanted to clarify for anyone who's watching.
All right. Yeah. But you know, we're going to play this by the book. We're going to wait for at least 2 sources to call a race before we call it. Anyway, none of those potential results should surprise us, but let's really be keeping our eye on North Carolina, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan.
Called Indiana, AP has, but it just bugs me that with 7%, you're already. I mean, do the numbers, folks. These are rural counties. At least wait until you get. I mean, maybe he'll win Kentucky. He's gonna win Kentucky.
Well, I mean, of course he's gonna win. I don't.
But I feel we have learned and we have been aware, Mary, and that's why I feel a little bit more comfortable and confident. This is not to say we should not expect the buffoonery, the chickenry, the lies, the disinformation that will roll out starting, I think, 11 p.m. once it really becomes clear this mother effer is losing. And I hope that the majority says F you and the.
Can I just ask you, did you just pronounce the word chicanery as chickenry on purpose?
I think it's chicanery, I wanted to say, but I thought of Trump and said chickenry.
That's good. It's
Good
chicanery. But
recovery. Good
let's,
recovery.
let's make it chickenry. And we'll envision him as the yellow chicken man.
Literally, Donald Trump popped into my head, and I said chicken.
We will allow it. We will allow every chicken pun that we can come up with.
Yeah. Have I mentioned I am what's the word I'm looking for?
Tired.
That's a word. I'm anxious. I am anxious. And also I was eating Cool Ranch Doritos and I didn't want to be crunching in everybody's face. Yeah, so we have some projections coming in, but we're not gonna call anything until it's called. Because it's really early, and in some of these states it looks like the vote numbers are really interesting, but because we don't quite know what voting population, what pockets of votes are left, that's something we want to watch out for. Okay, a couple of things. First of all, if only the popular vote mattered. Like if we were an actual democracy, I wouldn't be worried at all. So it's lovely that Kamala Harris is outpacing Biden and Clinton, and hopefully that is going to be crucial in this election. But it's also very possible it doesn't matter because of the Electoral College. We know that Harris should win this election, right?
And so when he says what he's saying about firing squads, the next thing you know, she's got to have what? Bodyguards. The same thing happened to all of us in the White House press corps when he started calling us fake news and said somebody should take them out. Suddenly, all of us had to have bodyguards. I remember going to events where there were bodyguards because we had to have them because the people were threatening us because they heard Donnie, and that's the same thing that happened on January 6th. Mary, to me, at the end of the day, I can't wait till we flush this turd. Sorry, down the commode. I can't put it any other way. And to be fair, I can put it much worse. But I'm trying to keep it kind of PG rated. It's early in the evening, and I haven't yet begun to defile myself. So,
I just got anxious again. I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on.
I have to just talk everyone off the ledge, which is.
I'm not on a ledge exactly, but
or the anxiety thing, which is when a state comes out the way we expected it to, it's still oddly and irrationally can trigger anxiety, right? That's just it. I have my map, and I just keep looking at my map, and so far, nothing that's been called or projected so far contradicts my predicted path to victory. So I'm going to try to be very much sort of like Jim Russert. Remember him?
Tim,
damn it. What it rhymes. Tim.
And one thing that is a hope, I mean, it's still a little early, but Florida, but based on what we've seen, another update is Florida-ing.
It's Florida-ing?
Florida is Florida-ing, meaning it's redding it up.
Yeah, I mean,
thought they would break, but it seems like, well, again, it's early. I don't want to call it, but a lot of people were expecting, the bullish ones were projecting it to go blue, but so far it seems all indications.
I didn't have that on my map, so
it's all red. It's all red. And I know people are so like, but if I want to take us back to 2020, we were all like this. Well, most of us were like this, even until the end. People were like, no, and then we called it. I think on your show, he'll take the 5 states, and he did. Once all those final votes were counted in
2020, we didn't know each other.
2020, the 2020 election, Biden.
No, I know, but I thought you said we weren't.
I was in the basement of the White House.
I didn't know any of you in 2020.
I did not know Mary then.
Really?
Yeah.
Where am I? Yeah,
I don't know. When are you? Is my question.
So I feel like didn't you do something, Mary? Like a special show? Am I making this up?
Did I do something? I did things.
Wow. Yeah, but I remember when that happened. with
Sorry.
with Biden and flipping.
I'm drinking to that.
Yeah, but I still feel she only needs, folks, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, which I will boldly say that inshallah she will get. Nevada swinging her way, that gets her to 276. Everything else, folks, is just halal gravy. But let's see.
Yeah, listen, I think it's
Can
important.
I just jump in and say what we're going to feel? Sorry, Mary, but our people need to be talked off the ledge, which is what Waj is saying is
That's what I was about to do. But go ahead, Jen.
We're looking for the gravy. We're looking. That's why Iowa's such a big deal with Ann Selzer's poll. So what I'm looking out for is that odd state. Like if North Carolina goes the right way, then I'm going to actually crack open a martini. But until then.
Fox News says Josh Stein just called. Governor of North Carolina beats the guy who promotes Hitler. And Mark Robinson.
All right. Well,
Detroit,
let's.
Well, yeah, I'm going to celebrate with my Detroit versus everybody. That's
Based
not
on exactly what Jen said, North Carolina folks, I've been hearing on the ground from North Carolina that Mark Robinson was such a toxic pick.
Yep.
For people who were on the fence, they were like, okay. So let's see. It's a good sign. But right now,
or if it were closer in Virginia, but she's killing it in both states right now.
I can't see this map. So can somebody? What are the blue states in the South? I can't see them.
Virginia.
I should know this. I'm an American. I should know what the
North
states
Carolina and South Carolina.
No,
South Carolina is shaped like
no. Virginia, North
Virginia,
Carolina.
and North Carolina. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so Georgia's
Maryland.
troubling, but we don't know. You know, we.
So just wait, folks. Just wait. I'm just trying to calm people's nerves. Is that same thing happened in 2020 when 89% of the votes were counted, where people were having a heart attack. They're like, "Oh my God, how can Donald win? How can Donald win?" And we just kept saying, "Just wait." That final 10%, even though it doesn't seem like much, it's coming from reliably blue counties,
and large ones.
And that was enough to push Georgia. Let that come in. Just calm down. And again, the map, Kamala has multiple paths to victory, multiple paths. And I will even say this, even Georgia and North Carolina, folks, are gravy.
And with 20%, no one's calling this race. It's way too early. So if you're getting nervous, relax. It's early. Have a drink. Don't eat any cats. Don't eat any dogs. We'll be here all night. Try the veal.
Don't try the veal. I'm going to keep reminding everybody, meaning me, to breathe.
But why breathe? Because we only have.
Well,
why
I mean, have you tried not breathing? It's ill-advised.
I just need to. We're going to have so much information coming in that this would be the time to hyperventilate, because when that happens, there'll be no time to worry about breathing. We're going to be calming down because this thing is going to fall into place.
Possible. We're looking at a red mirage. So going back to what I was saying and what Jen was saying, breathe, take a walk. It is early.
Okay, see ya.
I will take you back to 2020 when it was midnight and everyone was freaking out. And they're like, how is this possible? How is this possible? How is this possible? With 90% of the vote counted in. And once they came in, President Biden flipped 5 states. I might have to eat crow on one thing. I don't know. Let's see. I said that she will win the Electoral College of the presidency. I said they will take the House, and I thought they would hold the Senate with 50. With Rick Scott winning in Florida, but let's see.
Do we really think Rick Scott wasn't going? I always thought Rick Scott was going.
Ted Cruz. I was throwing something there, but let's see. We don't know. Let's see. It's still possible. Yeah. And I will also say, if I'm wrong, folks, I will be the first one to own it. And my God, will MAGA make memes out of me and mock me, but I don't care because it's our democracy at stake. And I was the bullish one for the past week, but it's going to be a long night. These swing states are close. Let them count the votes. I still feel very confident that inshallah Kamala Harris will be our next president.
How are you holding up?
Okay. I want to give a caution to everybody. I don't trust exit polls at all. So don't pay a lot of attention if you're following on cable or networks to that. I will say I'm feeling encouraged by just the early things we're seeing out of Pennsylvania. That is really the key. If she wins Pennsylvania, which I think she is likely to do comfortably at least, then the path to victory is just paved in gold. It doesn't look as good as I had hoped at the earliest stages in Georgia or North Carolina, but it is early.
That's hopeful, but it's going to be a really long few days. And that's, I mean, look, I'm not like Jen and Waj.
I'm gonna bet. Let's put some money down.
That is not me.
Let's put some money down. I will bet you $100.
I don't want to bet. I'm going to need my money to get out of Guantanamo. I don't want to fucking bet. So
hey, well, good. The only thing so far that has slightly disappointed me. The only thing I was hoping in Florida, the Latino population in Florida would respond, and that's it. That's the only slight disappointment. Everything else is lining up to what we thought.
One other thing to watch about Florida, I mean, that the referendum on that abortion, I think, how did that not have any impact at all? Like, that's shocking to me. Shocking.
But was anybody really surprised? I mean, it's Florida.
but I mean,
but so far there is nothing I have heard tonight that is inconsistent than what I thought would happen. 324 to 213. That's not, that math doesn't add up. Hold on 1 second. I've got to open it because my eyes don't work.
Wow. Just to calm people's nerves.
That's aggressive.
Yeah, that's
she
aggressive.
Still wins even without that. Yeah.
Just to calm people's nerves with what all she needs is the Rust Belt. She gets the Rust Belt state. She's at 270. With Nevada, if you've been looking at all the data that's coming out, it's breaking for her. That's 276. So that's everything after that is extra gravy. So that's all. Just for people.
Well, you know why I did? I added the extra gravy because I'm nervous about Michigan. Believe it or not.
Even if she loses Iowa and Arizona, I think when all is counted, I think women will give her, because this happened in 2020. Everyone's like, there's no way Biden's going to win Georgia. There's no way Biden's going to win Georgia. There's no way Biden's going to win Georgia. What happened at the end? Oh, he won Georgia. So I feel like once all's counted in North Carolina and Georgia, based on the trends that we've seen, who knows? Florida is its own thing, folks. I stand by that. And with Iowa, I'll give it to you, Jen. It's only because Iowa. So part of me is like, but I don't want to discount Selzer. Selzer is an A+ pollster. She is near bullseye, folks. She had her up +3 2 days ago. That's remarkable.
But I think, the key has always been Pennsylvania. You win Pennsylvania, your route to victory is just so much easier. And it looks to me like she's going to win by a significant margin in Pennsylvania.
If she wins Michigan, I know she's going to win Penn. If she wins Michigan, I'll go to sleep. I will quit the show.
Yeah, well, I know she is up by 72. What is it? 72% in Pennsylvania. So 71.4% to 27.7%. I don't know if he's got the votes left in the rest of the state to make that up.
And also, I just want to give a quick update. With 12 to 13% of the votes in North Carolina, she just took the lead barely. It's early, but she's up in North.
Yeah.
Also in Georgia, with Georgia, for those who've tuned in, don't freak out yet. I just want to remind everyone who hasn't kept up with the news that there were bomb threats. As a result of these stupid bomb threats, they have extended the voting to around 12:30 in key areas. Guess where those areas are? Very blue areas with a lot of predominantly Black American voters. So we won't know for a while. And what some people are assuming is what we're witnessing right now is a red mirage. Inshallah, that's what it is. Well, we won't find out for a bit. Hey, I'm content. Right now, it's looking good, folks.
Also good because that's University of Michigan students, and again, some of them could have been undecided. So I am feeling pretty bullish about Michigan. Also, Connie, very effing good. And
that's good. It's very good. Again, the Rust Belt looks strong, as Norm was saying. We want to go to Georgia real quick. I want Brian's take on Georgia, but I want to say this about Georgia. I know everyone's freaking out. I'm trying to look at the comments. I warn them. So for those of you who are drinking alcohol, freaking out, getting nervous, just breathe and just relax for a bit. Brian.
She's got 300,000 votes to make up in Georgia. There are several counties that haven't been counted. Those particular counties where the bomb threats were the most populous of those counties. So that is probably, it's going to be razor thin. The margin of victory for either one of them is going to be razor thin in Georgia.
It's still very early in the game. It's, we need to wait, because in so many of these places, the big urban areas are going to come in later. And what concerns me is that we may have more people who have decided to focus on the economy, even though it's insane to believe that Donald Trump would do anything other than create economic chaos. That's an issue that works to his advantage. But I'm seeing some signs that Hispanic men are not breaking entirely the way we would want, given the incredible dissing of Puerto Ricans, Haitians, and other Hispanics by Trump and his acolytes. It may not turn out to be as comfortable as we wanted, but I'm still confident that she's going to win.
I agree. I want to
ballot. I'm telling you guys, the more I see results like this, the more I think that it's going to be a good night for the Democrats. I don't know that it's going to be what MAGA wants at the end of the day. And one of my guys in Michigan said they're pretty damn sure it's going to be Kamala in Michigan, hands down.
If I may, because I'm in Virginia now, I live here, even though my home state's California. Decision desk called Virginia for Kamala 6 minutes ago.
There you go. And that's look, it when I'm looking at, and I try to be as conservative as possible on this map, because I don't want any damn surprises. And I got to tell you, I'm looking at, so far nothing has shaken me. But if she's got Pennsylvania, what other surprise? I don't. The path for Donald to victory narrows greatly.
That's right.
I mean, what's the problem is, I think that most people's brains are very path and narrative dependent. And so they watch things progress in the night instead of looking at what am I expecting to get, and what would be gravy and what would be a setback.
That's right.
And I wish people would look at, everyone, those people are probably really visual learners. So if they had started the night with printed out the states and colored in the ones that are blue and red, no matter what, and then focused on what was possible, they wouldn't get happy or sad based on the ones that we already knew. I mean, I just don't know why everyone isn't fucking rational. Okay, that's my end of my.
Wait a minute. You don't know why people are rational. If people were rational, this would not be a race.
That was a joke. That was a joke.
The only thing that has surprised all of us collectively, for those who have just tuned in, is that Florida as much as Florida did itself, in the sense that we didn't expect it to be that self-destructive, but it's Florida. Other than that, folks, everything pretty much has gone according mostly to plan. Maybe Virginia went a little bit more reddish than we thought, but Decision Desk called Virginia for Harris. I'm waiting for the other folks to call it, but she's got Virginia, folks. And what we're waiting for right now is Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. And from what we've seen and heard so far, they're very bullish to get those three. Nevada, more and more as the votes come in, it's increasing the lead for Harris. She gets those four. She's at 270 plus 6, 276. Then we got North Carolina, Georgia, and Arizona. Razor tight. Norm is not that confident in Arizona. Out of all the 7 swing states, I thought she could lose it. Brian, how do you feel on Zona?
I don't think she wins Arizona. I don't. I was there. I spent a lot of time there. I think it'll be close. I think she's got honestly, I think she might have a better chance of taking Nevada. I'd love to see her take Arizona.
Oh, she's taking Nevada. Nevada's on my map. We have Nevada.
I did run into some people in Nevada who are just fed up with Donald Trump, and a lot of them were in Las Vegas. And I've got a good buddy of mine who's reporting on it from Nevada tonight. He says it's looking good for Harris, but I don't have her actually taking it in my map.
It's early, but they're saying Ruben Gallego might be your new senator, and that's a projection. Yeah. That's a Democratic gain in Arizona.
Okay.
Phenomenal. Do you think that Kristi Noem is celebrating by shooting another dog and goat?
Ohio, if she can find one.
Ohio early voting, the voting that have come in, it's surprisingly a good leap for Harris. Will she win? Who knows? But it's a jump. Fayette and Jen,
What am I, chopped liver? Like what?
You're
What?
the center.
Yes.
You're the anchoring center moderate voice. I believe, I'm just going to make this prediction. I think when all is said and done, Georgia will lean just for Kamala Harris, and 40 bomb threats, folks. 40 Russian bomb threats have been called. 40.
You
They gotta
know,
be running out of bombs. My God. I think that, yeah, Georgia is a battleground. I got to tell you, though, if she could lose that and still lose, I'm encouraged in a lot of other areas so far. But I think that it's, God, we're going to be here for 3 hours trying to dig this crap out of the fire, because it's going to be every damn vote. It's razor thin.
Yeah.
What a sad commentary on this country of ours.
Yes.
It just is. It just is. And
right now, what they're saying is that in these Rust Belts, that she's doing slightly better than Biden with white voters, with white non-college voters, which the fact that white non-college voters are voting for Harris more than Biden so far is a good sign. And
I'm going to stick to mine. I'm a little more conservative than you guys, but I think we all end up in the same place at the end of the night. She has more than 270 and he has less. But I just want to see, I pray that you're right, that she does have more numbers, because like I said, what I'm looking at is between now and January 20th. And I want to make sure that the wider spread that she has, the easier it's going to go down, and the quicker people abandon Donald, and the less likely we'll have violence.
well,
Well,
you
guys,
just told, but if we can exceed, if we can pick up, if she breaks 300, forget about it. Now, one thing I want to ask you, Mary, because maybe you have a viewpoint on this. His deterioration obviously is baked into his personality from.
Just an update, because
Mhm.
everyone's worried about Georgia. We got Mercedes, our spin master from Georgia. Almost all votes in from Douglas County, Georgia, suburban Atlanta. VP Harris is plus 31. That is nearly 6 points better than President Biden's 2020 margin there, which is 25.2.
Very nice. Very, very, very
He has
nice.
closed the gap there as well.
Yep.
I think it's going to be a red mirage like we saw in 2020. If you all remember going back, taking the DeLorean, and it wasn't until midnight or maybe 1 a.m. where some people exhaled, but most people didn't until the next day.
I hope that the red mirage is in full flight, because it has been, right? Remember 2022? The red tsunami was a puddle, or not a puddle.
Well,
that's not a
it's
good
all
analogy.
blue
It was
America.
a trickle. It was a trickle.
It's all BS. They try to bully you, intimidate you, and you see the tactics at the polling places. The call in, the bomb threats. All of this is an extension of Donald Trump's method of bullying, intimidating, and trying to get people scared of him. So it's inevitable. Donald Trump's going to win. It's not inevitable. Get out and vote. Donald Trump's going to lose.
Given the fact that we're not seeing encouraging things in some of these states, like Texas, it's unsettling.
Well,
Yeah, it is unsettling, and I just
VOTP.
Decision Desk calls North Carolina for Trump, but it's a decision desk.
calls North Carolina for Trump.
Yeah,
I'm not a network. I wouldn't trust
not a
them.
network yet. But yeah, so Decision Desk projected that they'll win.
let's not do that.
Okay,
That doesn't.
Sarah McBride.
I want to get everybody's opinion on this, because I'm looking at these numbers, and you're talking about a red mirage. Some of this doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. For them to call some of this early, I'm still a little confused. I like seeing that Georgia, North Carolina, and Virginia still haven't been called, whereas at the same time, with the numbers that have been dropped in other states, they've called them. So
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
It's going to be it's urban rural going down in these swing states. Atlanta suburbs shifted 4 to 7 points towards Harris. rural swinging 2 to 5 points towards Trump. And for what that's worth, this is how Democrats have won elections in 2020. And if it holds, that means right now it seems like Kamala Harris will retain the Rust Belt. In the latest poll in Nevada shows she's increasing the lead, and it'll come down to the wire in Georgia and North Carolina, folks.
I would tell everyone that Waj is right. There's a red mirage. I'm not so sure it's going to be as overwhelmingly Harris as he thinks, but I still feel pretty confident. And I
said 300 plus, Mary. And the only way I get to 300 plus is if she takes the three. I mean, she takes the 3 Rust Belt states, she wins. Nevada's +6. She's at 276, and she gets to 300 if North Carolina and Georgia come in. Which I think she'll barely win. Let's see. That gives her above 300. And then you want to throw in Arizona, she gets even more. You want to throw
272. I want 272. So like we don't have to worry about Nebraska or Maine. I just want 272.
We have a note from Adam saying this kind of in a different way, saying what Waj and I have been saying. She just needs to get to 270. He and I both believe it will be over 300. I think 324. He's less bullish. The bottom line is, the states, and so far we have not seen a single state go in a direction that it wasn't going to go in. All the states that have come in so far that we have seen that are red, we're always going to be red in terms of the top of the ticket, the blue ones as well. So I am like going to lose my mind with people saying, oh, he's winning. It's like, what are you talking about? It's just the order of reporting. And I'm going to lose my mind if we keep having to say this over.
Don't lose your mind, Jen.
Don't lose your mind. That's my job.
She will win. She will win.
Okay, you know what? Honestly, Jen, I so appreciate that, but I don't want to go there because we do not know that.
I hope enough. I'm like Abe Watson.
Wow. Oh my God. All right. No. Listen. I appreciate it. And I'm not saying you're wrong by any stretch of the imagination. You and Waj have the numbers down in a way I do not. This is not my purview. However, I just kind of want to, keep it in the context of what's unfolding, because it is early and people are still voting. Polls are still open in Mountain and Pacific, I think. So I don't really know that because I'm from the northeastern United States and nowhere else matters. But don't get complacent. Don't count on anything. I sincerely hope that it is a red mirage.
Harris has just taken the lead for what it's worth in Wisconsin with 50.6% to Trump 9%. We'll see, folks. Again, this is what happened in 2020. It was just like this, if you remember. People were nervous. It was like it's all going to come down to the swing states. Yep. Nothing has changed. It's going to come down to the swing states. What they're saying is, oh my God, if she loses North Carolina and Georgia, all he'll need is one of the 3 Rust Belt states. True, but Nevada hasn't come in. It's trending towards Harris. Arizona, we still don't know. North Carolina and Georgia are razor close. We just don't know how it's going to break. It hasn't broken yet.
Waj, remember what Dandy Don used to say: if and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a hell of a Christmas.
Yeah.
So, sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride, folks.
Yeah, enjoy the ride as much as you can. But Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, based on what we knew going in, they felt confident. It's going to be close. It's swing states. She won the popular vote, and the reason why we are so upset is because if it was the popular vote alone, she'd win. But we have the Electoral College norm. Here's a question I have. Suppose she wins, and I believe she has to, and I will still say that inshallah she will. What can she do? What can Democrats do to protect our democracy?
Well, unfortunately,
Avenger, Dahlia, how are you feeling? Just to give you the lay of the land of the Nerd Avenger land, you have me and Jen, who are delusionally optimistic, but I think pretty calm. with our maps. The only thing that has surprised us that Florida would be that self-destructive. We still think she's on track to win 300 plus electoral college votes, with Georgia, North Carolina barely edging her way like it did in 2020. With Nevada's lead is growing, blue. For Kamala, Arizona, we still don't know. And it seems so far Pennsylvania and Michigan are trending in the right direction for Kamala. That's the lay of the land right now.
I guess I would say, you know, I hate this part of the night. I remember it from the midterms, which is this is the like red mirage part of the night where everybody freaks out and sets their hair on fire. And so I guess I would say, you know, I am cautiously optimistic. I think this is peak freakout time. And I think I want to say one other thing, which is Donald Trump will declare himself the victor in the next couple of hours. And he will do that in no small part commensurate with how much we're freaking out, right? The minute it feels safe to say that the feelings ball has gone his way. And so I think it is not just an act of like hopium and blind confidence to say, let's wait this thing out, because this is exactly how it played out in 2020 and in 2022. I think it's actually an act of patriotism to say, we are not going to let that guy and Russian bomb threats and, you know, extended hours at polling places in Georgia because of foreign election interference dampen the mood here.
Dahlia, and I just want to remind you all, you were there. You're like, no, it's over. 90% of the votes have been counted. And we're like, just, we got it. We got it. Don't worry. So it's still early. But I think, Dahlia, I think, like you said, suburbs haven't counted. I just got this piece of news, and I want you all to dissect it. They're saying that Donald Trump has doubled his support with Latino males. So it's coming in 55-45 with the Latino vote. Double-digit gains. Currently breaking, according to NBC, 53 for Harris, 45 for Trump. In 2020, it was 65 Biden, 32 Trump. It's still early. Your take on that, Norm, Brian, Dahlia?
It's, you know, if that's the case, after the Madison Square Garden hate fest, we're in deep shit. Now, having said that, we can look at actual results, and the actual results in some of these states are not what we'd hoped for. That's the bottom line here right now. I still think she's on a path to victory, but that path to victory is probably going to have to be with Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Nevada. But we're, you know, it's at least at this point, we're not seeing what I had hoped we would see, which is more comfortable results in places that we would want. And
Well,
can I just say Iowa right now, what they're saying with 80% in, is Trump is on pace, we'll see, to win it by 8 points, which means Selzer's poll would be nuked.
yeah.
And she's never that would be the most wrong ever, and her credibility might be shot.
That would be.
I didn't say it was official. Just said what some person said. My bad. I didn't say it was official.
That's
you
okay.
had asked a question about the exit polls. Can we, Mary? I
don't want to talk about exit polls. I don't have much faith in exit polls.
There's where I was going with it. I love.
Yeah, I don't have faith in exit polls. I think we need, I'm happy to look at, but we need to be calling things after we have two credible sources calling races. That's where I am at this moment. I
think we have to actually correct that. We did not make enough of a correction. Someone who we usually think is reliable, Waj read out loud. But I'm going to the NBC website. They say it's too early to call. They have Harris in the lead. So
where?
In Iowa. So we should not have called Iowa. We're not calling anything until the
I'm sorry. I never called Iowa. I was just my bad, folks.
Sorry.
I just want to apologize.
Understand.
I didn't call Iowa. I should have let you all know.
And
what I'll do from now on, and what I tried to do, what I should have done, actually, I should have listed and named the source. And just said, this is what they're seeing. That's all that I said. So I apologize. And someone told me to walk you off the ledge. Consider yourself walked off. I did not call it. I promise we won't call anything until we call it. The real Justin Ali, no worries, watch. If anything, we will be here to calm you. Thanks all. And my bad on that. I should have named the person.
Well, it's okay. You are doing yeoman's work. But yes, listen, I think it's fair to be nervous. In large part because, as we've said repeatedly, it's horrifying that it's close. So don't worry, but I think I solved it. What I have not solved is my horror at how close this is, because it shouldn't be.
Right now at polling places. So I just want to stop for a minute and say, don't panic. This is what happened in 2022. This is what happened in 2020. But
do we know what impact it's had? That Donald Trump has made it very clear. If he doesn't win, there will be violence. Has that swung people to vote for him just because in the short term that's an expedient? You don't, okay, if I vote for him, then I don't have to worry about political violence in the next couple of months. How many people aren't going to make it back to the polls in Georgia after the polling places were closed because of Russia calling in false bomb threats? Because we didn't know they were false. We didn't know there weren't actually bombs there. How many people, because they don't have childcare, they have to go back to work, can't go back and cast their ballots? And we know DeKalb County that it's. Are we surprised that it's DeKalb County? So, as much as we believe that the system is holding, and it is, and there are people doing the work, and we are grateful to them, there has been so much going on ahead of this election to dissuade people, to frighten people, to terrorize people. We don't know. We do not know. Striking people off the voting rolls for no reason. The Supreme Court siding with Virginia in this absolutely abysmal decision. So, sorry. I think I need to hydrate. I'm not taking my own advice. I said this the other day. It's like, I'm usually like really good at hydrating as if it's a skill. No, I'm good about hydrating. Like I remember to drink water and stuff. But we have with us a
Was it me or I can't hear
No,
you?
I can't hear you,
we
Mary.
lost your audio, Mary.
You lost your audio, Mary.
I think she's still hydrating.
Oh, Gatorade. No, I can't hear you. You're extremely muted. And
For those, while Mary brings on the guest, for those who are freaking about Pennsylvania, folks, it's really early. Less than 50% of the votes are in. This is what happened in 2020. I'm just trying to, for those who are on the ledge, this is me telling you, just exhale. It's going to be a long night. That's all.
yeah.
I will say, although I don't put much trust in it, and particularly since the New York Times tech crew is on strike, but their needle is basically saying that Trump is going to win every one of these swing states.
I don't put much stock in that.
No, I don't either.
I think that right now what you're looking at, until we can get Mary on, yeah, and then North Carolina is too close to call. Georgia is way too close to call. So far, and Waj, you correct me if I'm wrong, and Norm or Dahlia correct me if I'm wrong, but as you look at these states, it's early, and this doesn't look like anything we didn't anticipate. I see no surprises so far. Well, except they just called Colorado for that was AP. Just called Colorado for Harris. So it's 198 to 109 according to this, but who knows? It's very early. It's going to be I still think it's where we thought it would be.
Yeah, it's closer than people like, especially in Pennsylvania, Michigan, North Carolina, Georgia, and Wisconsin. I think a lot of folks were hoping that enough of this country would make a resounding statement. And I'm glad you said that, Brian, because the votes haven't been counted, folks, and that's my cat.
Yeah. Waj, I don't know if you know it or not, but you got a cat where I'm.
Hey guys, our fingernails.
Can I remind everyone, Mary, this happened in 2022 and 2020, and if I'm wrong, I'm gonna be eating so much halal crow because I went on Piers Morgan and said she would win. I would eat halal crow, and I said it on Twitter. And look, if I lose, I will. I mean, if I lose, who cares about me? It's gonna be terrible for the country. And I will gladly say I was wrong. I misjudged just enough people in America. I thought it would be enough, but it's 10 p.m. The people are like, oh my God, please tell us, will Philadelphia decide this election? Will it be up to this and that? And I'm like, folks, 2020, it was with 89% reported in, 11 to 10% of those that were supposed to come in didn't. Those were all blue counties. Yeah. And that the overwhelming blue votes in those big urban cities, Mary, is what gave Joe Biden the win. So she has multiple paths to victory. I'm not just trying to, I'm trying to take off everyone off the ledge here for a second.
Well, look, Waj, I'm sorry to interrupt, but let's get to crawling off the ledge.
But that Kamala will win this race, A, and B, I'm looking at the counting of the votes in your state, Fulton, Gwinnett, Cobb. None of those have come in yet. And so I guess what I want to ask you is how effective has the Russian interference been in the election process there? So first, do you feel comfortable with Harris? And secondly, do you think that Russian interference will have any significant effect on voting in your state?
I think Kamala Harris is going to win the presidency. I think it's going to be very close in Georgia. I don't think that although it was disruptive, I don't think it's going to have the Russian election interference will have a huge difference in Georgia elections. They only affected 5 polling precincts that we know of. So that's where the bomb threats were called in. So I don't think that's going to have a huge implication in today's election results.
Think it's an act of war?
Yes. Why is a foreign country calling in bomb threats and getting our voters to evacuate and not being able to cast their ballots? Absolutely.
God bless you. Take that one to the State House. Anybody else? I could ask all night long. I'm a reporter, but I'm sure somebody else has got a question.
No, it's because I don't want to, be crunching. But anyway, we have news that Iowa was called for Donald, which shouldn't surprise us. It's disappointing.
Yet,
but
what was
Democrats,
the
I
margin?
watched. What was the margin?
I haven't seen the margin yet. Hold on, it was called by AP and
right now it's 53-47, and that's within the margin of error for what Selzer had. But these are not final results yet. But
what I will say is that is as good as Selzer has been. The one time she was wrong was when she called it for a Democrat,
right?
And it was the same flip. So whatever it's worth. I mean, listen. Before this weekend, I don't think anybody was expecting we were going to win Iowa anyway. So I don't. That to me is that's not indicative of anything except that Iowa is Iowa. But wow, it's just amazing, man. It's just amazing. I will never get over this.
Can I walk people off the ledge for a second? Is that okay?
No. I want to be on the ledge. Of course, Waj.
Get off the ledge.
Please walk me off the ledge, please.
Absurd amount of bomb threats that we've never experienced from Russia. Polling stations are still open.
Yeah.
Votes have not been counted. Yep. Those votes are overwhelmingly from blue districts.
That's right.
Deliberate attack of Russia, fake disinformation. The disappointment, like we said, is because it should have been a blowout. But I think a third of the country, like we've said on your show, is lost. We cannot reach them. They are lost to MAGA. Do not underestimate the power of misogynoir. Kamala Harris is a Black Indian American woman. So far, folks, as of now, the map really hasn't changed. Donald has won the states he won in 2020.
And
Georgia,
nothing else.
And Decision Desk, I think, Decision Desk called it way too early for Georgia and North Carolina. No one else has.
Introduce, just the margin of how completely shitty it is to know that this is not 2020. And I think the reason we are flailing is that it is hard to believe that the margin of despair can be this close. It is hard, just almost impossible to metabolize that, knowing what we know, having been told what we have been told, he has shown us who he is, and it's still this close. And
Dahlia, you're right. And I think at the end of the day, this is the come to Jesus moment for the American media. We have got to clean ourselves up.
It's not, but no, yes, it's hugely about the media, corporate media, legacy media, traditional media, whatever you want to call it at this point. But
we've lost our credibility.
To Donald, yeah, you have, but specifically, what's happened is that Donald has revealed everything about who he is. And just look at the last month of his campaign. The misogyny, the racism, the viciousness, the cruelty, the hatred, the stupidity, the deviance, the debasement, the cognitive decline, the psychological deterioration. Oh my God, there is literally nothing to recommend this person, nothing. And that is why this is so. Is there a word for what we're experiencing right? And look, hopefully he's still going to lose. Whoa. Hopefully he's still going to lose. Kamala Harris is going to win, and we're going to figure it out. But the fact that we are here at 10:41 p.m. on November 5th and not knowing is a devastating commentary about where we are as a country and what is it going to take. What is it going to take? Seriously.
We're standing at a point of history where all of us here believe that we can see with clarity how we are diagnosing correctly that people don't seem to have a capacity to learn, and that people tend to cluster around team identities, right? We're observing that. And we're also observing that we think people are making the wrong trade-offs when they make their choices to vote. And Mary, you are saying, look at what this says about human nature. And I have to say, if I were back in middle school or look at, in other words, I don't actually think, I think maybe the problem with liberalism, and I'm just trying this out, is that we actually think people are better than they are. And, I want to sit around and hope, and I know Dahlia is going to yell at me, and I know the Talmud tells me don't quit. You know what? Fuck the Talmud. In other words, I am now at the point where that's just the giving tree. Women read that shit and they say you're not allowed. You don't have to finish. You don't have to repair. Completely repair the world, but you have to keep doing it. No, I'm done. Done. I'm just going to look at reality in front of me and be very pragmatic. And I say Kamala Harris is still going to win.
Like Jen said it. And this has been my position all along. Kamala Harris has to win. One, because I believe Kamala Harris is going to win because she has to. Kamala Harris is going to win because I refuse to believe that America is going to choose otherwise. And yet here we are not knowing. And that is so unacceptable to me. That is so disappointing to me. That is terrifying to me. That is all of those things. And again, I some of you may know this. I come from a fairly horrible family. Across the board. like across the board. So, you know, I have, because of that, developed this fairly rigid morality, if you will. I don't know if that's the right word, but I tend to be pretty black and white about things. You know, I need to know what's right and wrong in order for me to survive, right? So I have always said that I'm an atheist, for those of you who don't know. It's irrelevant, but it's relevant in this context. What I've always believed in is human goodness.
I do too.
And that is being challenged in a way that I find very difficult to bear.
And it changed everything. And it was close. It wasn't nearly, and he had to cheat to get it, but he did it.
Yes,
now it's changing back. And I think it's going to be by the skin of the teeth, but the next 40 years I have hope for once this step is taken. But once you knock down the one domino, the rest of them fall, and it takes a while to get that momentum. You feel like Sisyphus pushing, the rock up the hill. But this is one that can be done, and I'm with you. It's got to be done, and I'm looking at the numbers and still thinking it can be done. And Mary, I'm right there with you, but I still have the hope. And I think this is going to be a redefining election for the United States of America, and I think it'll bring back the decency. And some of these people that have crawled out from under their rocks will crawl back under, or at the very least will shut the hell up. Once he does lose, you will find them falling away from him slowly but surely, quicker with some. But take a look at what he's done. He's bankrupted the Republican Party. And at the end of the day, this is a redefining election for the United States. Have faith, have hope. But then again, I always go back to George Carlin, who said, think of how stupid the average person is and realize that half of them are stupider than that. And that you can't change.
Yeah, and listen, when I said earlier that the human race hasn't evolved by Donald Trump, we have to stop being afraid. And we're not. We're brave. We face these things with courage. It's the people who actually have much less to lose than we do who choose to be terrified at every turn. And that's what worries me, because for reasons that escape my comprehension, other than we have not evolved properly as a species, we choose terror over hope. We choose destruction over creation, when, in my view, the most important thing about being human is to create and have joy and find unity. So that's sort of what I'm feeling right now. You're just gonna have to pay for my relocation.
Everyone should breathe.
Okay.
Everyone should exhale. Right now, the only Michigan is looking pretty good, folks. Wisconsin's looking pretty good. Pennsylvania, it might not be the margin of Biden, but wait until Philly comes.
Yeah.
And she has a really good buffer. I mean, something drastic would have to happen in Philly, and I think they have canvassed the hell out of Philly. I mean, Philly's run game is awesome.
And last night, I don't know, did you see what happened last night?
And Nevada looks very strong for her. That's 276. Don't give up on Arizona. I know they've kind of forgotten Georgia and North Carolina. Wait till see. But like Jen and I have told you, all she needs is what, Jen?
All she needs is 270. I think the answer is, I'm coming to a philosophical moment of a synthesis here. I will not give up trying to repair the world, but part of my repair project is going to be art and writing and creativity. And when I finish my fucking tax book, when I'm done with that, I'm only going to create to enlighten, to make people feel something honest and true about the world at a different level of what I'm doing. I'm not writing policy books anymore. Fuck that. And I'm going to listen to music and try to indulge in the wonder and beauty of the world, as opposed to be mired in this Sisyphean, is that the word, project of trying to make other people be better. I'm going to make myself be better. And that is my plan. Now,
Brilliant.
so right brain, left brain, quick switch, code switch. Yeah. So yeah, Michigan, I looked at that. Clearly that's looking good. I looked at what's in. I was trying to do a deep dive as Mary was, again, multitasking about talking about Emily Bronte. And I would need to be, it's going to be, down to a fine tooth comb, because I can't quite see. Yeah. It's like 70% of Philly is in, and Philadelphia County is in. So that gives, they're in the lead, and that gives a chunk, and there's going to be a chunk here and a chunk there. And I just don't have the ability to know. I think they say there's 1 million votes still outstanding in Pennsylvania. But the bottom line is, just like before, this is close. This is why the bomb threats were in Philadelphia. This is why, they looked at the map and they said, where are the weak points? It's kind of like that thing Scandal. And there was that town called Defiance, Ohio, but this is fucking real. And they actually use bombs and not just whatever they did in that TV show. And so it's going to be a while. I mean, I think if we do get Arizona, which is looking good, if we do get these other states, if we get Georgia, then we don't have to wait around for Philly. But, I feel much better tonight than I did in 2020. No question.
I wish I could say the same. I'm increasingly nervous. I'm nervous about Michigan. Oakland County, the numbers are not as good for her at this point as they were for Biden. She's getting like 53%. He got 56%. We have, too many red areas out. I'm hoping that she pulls out Michigan, but obviously if we lose any of these three blue wall states, we are screwed. And they're just too close. They're closer by far than they should be. We're getting a lot of people now calling Georgia and probably North Carolina. I think our path is still only going to be Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Nevada. And, we really can't lose any of those if we're going to have any kind of a margin. And the numbers should not be this close. They shouldn't Virginia be. Even, we're going to win Virginia, but it's much closer than it should be. And that just, takes me back to 2016, and it gives me a lot of spilkus.
Okay, well, that's an update.
Waj and I are saying just count the votes. It's just got to count the votes.
It's going to be super close. It's exactly where we were in 2020 with Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Georgia, North Carolina, Arizona. Well, she didn't even win North Carolina. The fact that's even play is awesome. But Georgia and Arizona, Biden won Georgia by 11,000 votes and Arizona barely, right?
11,700.
Yeah. So, my 300 plus map was assuming she would retain Georgia, North Carolina. They still haven't called it. Suppose she doesn't. And suppose she even loses Arizona. I think she has Nevada based on what we've seen. I know everyone's freaking out about Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, but based on what we just talked about a few minutes ago, just wait for those big blue cities to come in, folks.
Ben Wickler, who's the Democratic Party chair in Wisconsin and a really smart guy, basically believes that we're on a path to a narrow Harris victory there. It's going to take a while. It may be until we get the absentee votes in for Milwaukee, but they're hitting their numbers that they expected in other places. So I'll take that to the bank.
It's Pennsylvania.
But it's Pennsylvania and Michigan.
Michigan's good. I know it's good. It's good. I looked at the counties and what's in. I'm not concerned about Michigan anymore.
I want Jesus Christ, America, you have so much to answer for. The least you can do, the very, very least you could do, is elect this supremely accomplished Black woman to be president of the United States. I don't know. I like at this point, I don't even know what else to say. I just am.
You would
Yes, Rob.
Update is Kamala is now up to 179. Thank you, California, my home state. Donald's at 214.
Wait, she's at 179 with California?
Yep.
Oh God, that's okay.
But hey, listen,
those numbers don't mean anything. We know what it's coming down to. We know which states are going to go which way, except for the handful of the swing ones.
It's gonna come down to the swing states. That's it.
Yeah,
that's it. Just like 2020, and
because of the electoral college. Wait, by the way, just quickly, what does anybody know where we are popular vote wise? I know it doesn't matter, but I'm very curious to know like where we are popular vote wise.
But it could be that will also be closer than we anticipated.
Yep.
And it's
right now 45.9, 46 million Kamala, 52 million Donald.
In terms of what's been counted,
there's just not enough time.
Yeah,
guys, Wayne County, Michigan, only 1% of the vote is in. And right now, Wayne County, Michigan, because only 1% of the vote is in, shows Donald slightly in the lead because it's like 10 people. Like we just can't. We just don't know. It's going to be the same as we said. We just have to wait for Michigan and Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. Just have to wait.
Arizona, Nevada, Oregon, New Mexico.
Yes.
It's so much closer, right?
I know,
Wisconsin,
right.
Michigan, Pennsylvania. It's so much closer than we thought. But it was going to go down to this. This was it.
Well,
but then if Norm's saying that
has Trump won any state that he didn't win before? No, he hasn't improved any.
If Norm is saying that Ben, who I also trust in Wisconsin, is I mean, look, we all see what we'll see. But if he's feeling good, Norm, I haven't followed his thread right now. I trust Ben more than anyone on Wisconsin.
I think we'll be okay there. And maybe I hope Jen is right about Michigan. And I'm a little more bullish on Pennsylvania just because of that massive turnout effort. And I think we're going to see some of those results come in. But, look, we face two possibilities here. One is that this monster wins and the hellscape that will follow, not just for the country, but the world, is just chilling beyond belief. Almost certainly a really narrow victory and maybe even a popular vote margin that is extremely small. What it says about the country and what it says about the difficulty of governing is just shocking.
Well, it's
what it's like actually. It's like if Germany had known in 1939, that there were going to be concentration camps, and what the concentration camps were going to do, and they had seen the pictures of the victims, and they knew how many people were going to be murdered, and they understood in great detail exactly what the Holocaust was. It's literally like knowing, like seeing it, having the films, and saying, I think Hitler's my guy. That is where we are right now.
It's greed. People think they're going to get a tax cut. They think they're going to get free stuff.
But listen, I mean,
human nature.
It is, then human nature is making a very bad case for itself.
Well,
basically, climate change, pollution, cruelty, preferencing personal wealth over the well-being of other human beings. What we're saying, it's like humanity is not making a good case for itself.
Well, it has.
We're saying that it's becoming increasingly clear that the planet will be better off without us. The planet will be doing just fine without us. Like the planet is going to survive better without us unless we make significant changes to how we approach our position on the planet and how we approach our stewardship of the planet. And it's just mystifying. It's very difficult not to take all of this personally. And I know that seems ridiculous, but that's kind of where, I mean, honestly, what happens to me personally is infinitely less important than what happens to the planet. I understand this. But, Donald loses and his worthless, pathetic supporters and followers, they get their Social Security. They get their health care through the Affordable Care Act. They get a higher minimum wage. Their quality of life goes up. Kamala Harris loses. I don't even know where I'm going to live. I don't even know if my assets are going to be seized. Yeah. I don't know if my kid's going to be safe. Like, are we kidding? Like, this is okay with people. And
but
I don't know. It just puts the idea that Donald could, let's still hope that Kamala Harris wins. But again, as Norm said, the idea that Donald will get more votes this time around than in 2020 is infinitely more obscene than it was that he got more votes in 2020 than he did in 2016.
But do you expect this country has never elected a female, much less a female of color, to the presidency? We are on the verge of making a huge change in this country. I think we have to keep in mind what this election boiled down to and where it is going. And I still, and I'm not ready to, I haven't seen Donald Trump win anything he didn't win last time. So let's just, I know Norm is, I'm conservative in the numbers. I think at the end of the night, she'll win 276 to 286, perhaps, of her, she'll end up with. I don't think she ends up over 300. But at the end of the day, it's hard to make changes of this magnitude decisively because most people will resist change. And we've been on this path for a long, long time. And if we make this move, then you will see that the dominoes will crumble afterwards. Get this one done. I think it will get done. But I'm just going to say, I'm not going to despair. I will continue to fight. And I have the faith that at the end of the night, this will end up right.
Oddly, the House looks pretty good for Democrats so far. Looks pretty steady.
Yeah. Never bet against Nancy Pelosi. She knows how to count votes. She always said we would flip the House. She said Kamala will win. She was silent as fuck about the Senate.
Yeah,
the Senate would hold. I thought the Senate would hold.
I mean, we don't know yet, but I think that, not to be honest with you, like the idea that we're not going to win the House by 50 seats is also obscene to me. But whatever. These are the times in which we live.
Yeah. When can I say this quick thing? This is a sort of metaphor. You know how when you're trying to sell a house or something like that, or you're trying to get a job, those times when you're interviewing for a ton of jobs, or you're trying to sell your house and you're like, will I ever find a buyer? And it's like, you just need one. You just need one. You just need 270. And when we elect Kamala Harris to be the first woman president of the United States, I don't care about any of that other shit. And I do care, though. I mean, there's lots of layers of this. And of course, I have having an existential crisis about the nature of humanity. But I also want to say, I'm not going to let that rain on my fucking parade.
No, that's my job.
No, because Mary, were you the one who said in reconstruction?
5 minutes? Yeah, I was going 5.
But, I don't want to be the Debbie Downer again. Look at the nature of this campaign. Look at what he did. I mean, it was he first of all he signaled over and over again what he would do as a president. He did the most obscene and disgusting things on the campaign trail. Imagine a presidential candidate simulating a blowjob on a microphone right before the election, and it doesn't seem to have swayed a single vote. It just
Hold on,
gives
you
me
don't know the
such
Delta.
chills about the nature of the country and who the voters are.
I think it did sway people. That's what's scary, Norm.
Yeah.
To
No,
him.
you know what I thought about his overwhelming support among white evangelicals, and I said, yeah, what would Jesus do?
Swallow.
Like it's so depraved.
Yeah.
Well, probably not.
That
But
was
anyway,
the funniest, most irreverent thing that you have ever said.
yeah.
Right.
I'm skating
I couldn't
over it
help it.
because
It's a stand-up comedian in me. It came out.
I just don't think we should go there. But no, but seriously, it's like we're reaching back to this mythical time of greatness, and we'll accept absolutely anything from a white man, despite the fact that his opponent is infinitely superior to him in every single way, by every single metric. It looks like the AP has called North Carolina for Donald. Look, I want to make it very clear. A lot of people are joining us tonight. And again, AP called, but that it's just AP. So, it's not definitive yet. I continue to believe this. There are more of us than there are of them. People
To break in, I'm sorry, with some news,
Please.
which is that they're projecting Sherrod Brown lost. So there goes the Senate, and that's
a blow. I thought
that
that was
is-
a possibility, but I'm sad.
yeah. Well, we had hoped that, and here again, the same as we saw the last time in Ohio when J.D. Vance won against a good candidate in Tim Ryan. Here you had another embarrassment in Bernie Moreno against a great candidate, and it's a sign of the tribalism, but it also means it's almost impossible for us to hold the Senate. It's going to take this miracle in Nebraska and no other
Montana.
places.
Yeah, I mean, it is just stunning to me because Sherrod Brown is an incumbent. He has proven himself to be an excellent senator, and I don't know. It's people literally just do not understand what's happening. It's all about party affiliation and the ignorance of people, which, by the way, is manufactured on the right. They want people to be ignorant. They want people not to believe, Sherrod Brown. I mean, seriously. It's just I'm beginning not to understand anything anymore.
It's gonna come down to Pennsylvania, and assuming Michigan holds, which seems likely. Wisconsin, they're going back and forth. Steve Kornacki says, I don't know, but I trust Ben. It's going to be close. Donald is 24 electoral votes away. So it's going to come down to the Rust Belt. That's it. It's going to be Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. Let's see. That's it. It's going to be Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. Let's see. If I may, since I've been so optimistic, let me put on the other hat real quick. I'm still optimistic because it's still going to come on. What I underestimated, and I will always fall on my own sword, was I thought the half point or 1 point would break towards Kamala. The sad part is what we've seen and I hope she doesn't. I hope he doesn't win for a variety of reasons, but also because I'll have to go on smug Piers Morgan. He I think was fretting, and he said people of color, enough people of color, men of color will vote for Trump and Donald. And I said I thought the margins would hold and enough women would come out. The way she wins, folks, is if those urban voters and women come out. But what we've seen, and it's so fascinating, is you would think with him mocking Puerto Rico the way he did, calling Latinos in particular invaders and rapists and just mocking people of color, didn't seem to really affect. They're like, I still won him over the black woman.
It's just unbelievable.
In Chester County, 98% in Lancaster. Most of the red counties are in. It's technically possible, but it's not looking all that great for Harris in Pennsylvania.
But it's not where we wanted to be, and it's, if you even use as a yardstick where Biden was, this is nerve-wracking.
My understanding is at 11:55, there's going to be a huge amount of uncounted mail-in ballots in Pennsylvania that are from Philly and the suburbs. So we're just hypothesizing here without any data about,
I'm just reading the numbers, but you're right.
No, but we don't. This is where the mail-in ballots. This is what the fights were about before, and this is where we are now.
I have to say, Mary, that some of these states, like Ohio, are going much bigger for Trump even than we would have expected. It looks like he may win by 13 points in Ohio. So the popular vote is still up for grabs, which itself is stunning. We might have expected a result, or at least the possibility, given the distortions of the Electoral College, where you could see Trump eking out a victory, but losing the popular vote as he has in the past by millions. It would be even more stunning and depressing if he somehow won the popular vote.
Yeah, and actually, Norm, if he won the popular vote and lost the Electoral College,
holy shit!
Yeah.
I could live with that. I could live with that.
I could live with it. I could live with it. No, but what I'm saying is, we are going to see what happens. When he will feel, he and his followers will feel completely empowered to
bring out the AR-15s.
Exactly. And suddenly the Electoral College will be a problem. Listen, if that gets us to get rid of the Electoral College, fabulous. But it's not going to go well. But listen, I think we the loss of Hillary Clinton. I mean, I think he cheated in 2016 too, for many, many reasons. But I mean, honestly, I think that this is a referendum on our species.
Yeah.
And I mean, I just don't think that I don't think that I don't think most human beings understand what the point of being human is, quite honestly. And we'll wake up tomorrow and the people who voted for Donald will be very happy and they will live their miserable lives.
It's not over yet.
All right, whatever. But Mercedes, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, sorry, it's dropping in the chat. Just want to jump in here. North Carolina has been called for Trump.
Donald, but thank you.
Thank you.
No surprise.
Now that we've gone down the gloom, It's so close in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan from several people who I won't name, who I respect, who know the states. Literally, like, she has a very narrow path. It's almost like reverse Donald in 2016, the way that she might win. Like, literally could be the flip of 2016.
Yeah.
Also, Arizona and Nevada are within nail biter. They haven't been called for Donald. It is very possible, folks. It is still very possible. And I'm not being delusional. I'm keeping it real with you. She barely wins Arizona. She wins Nevada. She loses one of the. She loses either Michigan or she loses Wisconsin. She still wins.
What about Pennsylvania?
Pennsylvania.
If he gets Pennsylvania, is that the end though?
Pennsylvania might be the I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all that. So like that's big.
Yeah.
That's big, and we just need to know about the mail-in votes. I mean, and you just told me Tara Palmieri, she doesn't count. The person, I mean, that's not who really knows what's going on the ground in Pennsylvania.
Well, next day it's boom for everybody. But if you look at the numbers, she could lose Pennsylvania, but if she picks up Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada, she'd still win.
Look, it's going to be close, man. We won't know until the morning, but I think we have to prepare. We have to prepare.
All right, let's.
Why are they coloring in? Is this
because if it's pale, then that means it's leaning, but not called yet. So sadly, most of these are leaning red. So, I mean, Nevada looks like a draw right now. Arizona's leaning red. Wisconsin's leaning red. Michigan's leaning red. Pennsylvania's leaning red. Georgia's leaning red. I don't know, man. I understand nothing. I don't understand why anybody would want this. Donald Trump is the most depraved, degraded,
depressed
person ever. And people who vote for him, if Kamala Harris lost, they'd be like, oh, well, I'll just get my Social Security and my minimum wage will go up. But, you know, gay people have rights and women can get abortions. And the rest of us are going to wake up tomorrow morning like, what the fuck am I going to do so I don't get killed? So I don't get put into a fucking camp. So how am I going to keep my kids safe?
Yeah.
How am I going to make a living? How am I going to make sure that my assets don't get seized? Seriously, are you fucking kidding me with this? What are we doing here? You vote for him, you are not a human being. You do not deserve the right to have a say anymore. You take yourself out of the conversation. What are you doing? What are you choosing? Your planet is gone if you make this choice. Russia will invade Ukraine. Donald will hand it over to them happily. And then there's Poland. And then there's the Western Alliance. Climate change. We are facing catastrophe. A clock is ticking. You don't care. You do not fucking care about your children, about your grandchildren, about your neighbors, about your friends, about your coworkers. You just don't care. Why? Why? Give me a fucking reason why. And Donald Trump will be out of the Oval Office within a month. They will invoke the 25th Amendment. He's clearly unfit. They know it, and they're banking on it. They just wanted to drag his desiccated corpse over the finish line, and it looks like there's a very good possibility they're going to do that.
And I was bullish because at the end of the day, even though I was saying earlier, well, this is human nature, I made a mistake and believed more. I believed that maybe we were beyond misogyny and sexism and idiocy. I made a mistake. I had been worried about Michigan more than the other states for a number of reasons, but I thought we'd pull it out here. And it's not looking good, you guys. And I think you want us to stay with you. I mean, I was thinking I don't want to go to bed because that's what I did in 2016. And when I woke up, I was devastated. And I don't want to leave Mary right now because I'm really worried right now. This is no fucking joke.
No,
it's not a fucking joke. I am sitting here with my friend, not knowing what her tomorrow looks like, what her January looks like. And I did not expect this. I did not expect this. And I'm glad you're with me. You're with us, you guys. I mean, I want to go and I just want to go to sleep and not turn on the TV ever again and go live on a hog farm like that guy did. But I feel like you need us. I feel like you need us here, right? I mean, we're here for you, you guys. And this is
Jesus.
This is.
Look, I remember 2016. I remember the pain. You had a qualified woman, Hillary Clinton, running against a Bulgarian. She barely lost by 40,000 votes. 2020, I remember Joe Biden won. I don't, and Kamala Harris is such a qualified woman. We had the opportunity. We still have the opportunity. It ain't over until it's over, folks. For the first Black Indian woman, a daughter of immigrants, I thought the numbers would tilt towards Kamala Harris based on everything we've talked about for the past 4 hours. And all of us did. Most of us did. We overestimated our faith in our fellow Americans as we should have, because we hope for the best. But the way it's boiling down right now, it seems not enough white women voters showed up. Latino voters just completely broke for Trump. Maybe the strong man, the immigration, we have to win over Latino voters, young men of color, and he held the rule of voters. He held his base, and he won just enough. So it's one of those situations where there's millions of us. I believe we are the majority. We're not going anywhere. And Trump and MAGA and Republican Party have to contend with us, right? And like we said before, even if Kamala Harris wins or if she didn't win, we'll still find out in the morning, folks. Wait for the votes to be counted.
Not morning, right? It's where we are right now. No, all it takes is if they call Pennsylvania. In other words, it could be till Saturday, but if they call one of these states, we know.
Yeah,
I knew when Arizona was called. We knew we had to wait till Saturday, but at some point, I knew in my gut that it was Biden. We're going to know, not this second right now, but it's not going to be Saturday. We're going to know before Saturday. And the only fucking good thing, she may win. It's possible. We just don't know. But fuck them for the bomb threats. And also, at least we have the House because then they can't get any shit done.
Let's hope.
Well,
we're not going to go there now, but we're looking a little better there. But we have to say something about the enemy of the people, because the fact is, even though we saw a pivot,
and I think people will say, "Oh, Kamala should have done this, or she should have done that." I mean, look, 2.5 months. I think she ran a fantastic campaign. Literally, this guy mocks Puerto Ricans and Latinos, and they broke for him. He mocks Black people. They broke for him, right? He mocks, so it's one of those things, that's structural thing. And this is where we are. Enough people want fascists and a strong man, and they just don't want a female leader in the United States of America.
There's literally nothing Donald could have done because he did it.
Yeah.
And again, the fact that he got away with let's back up. The fact that he got away with killing hundreds of thousands of Americans, because of his purposefully, malignantly inept handling of COVID. The fact that he started and then perpetuated the big lie. The fact that he incited insurrection against his own government. All of that was normalized. All of that was accepted by the Republican Party, and the corporate media fell in line, and Merrick Garland is a fucking disgrace. And we now have a majority of Republicans in the House who are seditionists, and at least 10 Republicans in the Senate who are seditionists, who are still there. That is, in my view, just not taking this seriously. Like, literally, like, let's normalize the worst among us. Let's just, hey, you know what? You try to commit an insurrection, we'll wait 2 years before we get around to indicting you. Oh, you stole highly sensitive classified documents? That's okay. We'll give you a year and a half to hand them back, and if you don't, well, okay.
We're not going to know about the House for a long time. It's our only hope, but I just have my serious doubts about whether we will ever have another election or have another election in the foreseeable future. He is going to find a way to declare martial law and suspend elections and make sure that whatever backlash there will be from people who have no clue what's about to befall them, that they're not going to have an opportunity to rebel against all of this. We have no idea about how bad this could get.
Yeah.
Well, we do.
The country has no idea.
But clearly, people who voted for this despicable scumbag do not. And like, that's one of the, I think, I mean, if there is history after this, because I agree with you, if he gets back in, there will never be an election again, and never be a free and fair election again. Jen?
What are we doing? I'm thinking about if I can move to Canada and Zoom in my classes so I don't get killed. That's what I'm doing. Yeah. Is that a stupid thing to be doing, or what?
I'm out of here. I can't. Like, my biggest problem. Well, forget it. I can't talk about it. Waj, go ahead.
Look, keeping it real, she has a very narrow path. Very, very narrow, though. Just keeping it real. You know, I was wrong. I wish I wasn't. I was very bold and optimistic, and I had a lot of faith in my country, and I thought the 1 percentage point, 1.5 would tilt Harris. It tilted Trump. Donald, excuse me. According to reporters, it is what it is. It seemed like she will underperform Biden 2020 among nearly every single demographic, save for college plus women. A lot of votes still to be counted, but it seems like, you know, what's going to be even more powerful is painful is it'll just be when it comes to the Rust Belt 3 states, it'll be even Arizona and Nevada will be like so. I'm still up. You know, the thing is, when you mention what you will do, my parents are visiting, and I will share this right before I leave for Mehdi's show. I'll come back if you're all still on. My dad was like, "Where are you gonna go?" And he said, "You know, your wife just told me that she can practice anywhere. You can write from anywhere." Because I got kids. I'm a Muslim man. I'm a brown-skinned man. MAGA hates me. I went on Piers Morgan. I was, very optimistic. I hope for the best. But it is what it is, and they are cruel and vicious. Inshallah, may Allah protect us, may Allah protect our country. But look, people have been through this before. We've never been through this, but people have been through this before, and people have to resist. You have to resist at every level. And just because things twisted this way doesn't mean they can't twist the other way. Now, that being said, it's very hard to get out of fascist once he comes in. But a lot of those voters who went for Republican, if shit goes bad, which I predict it will if he wins, there could be a reckoning, folks. There could be a reckoning. But it'll take all of us. I'm with you. I wish you all well. And inshallah, I will see you in hopefully 20 minutes.
All right, Watch, check back in. I'm pretty sure I'll be here anyway. I've said this many times before. The other side wants people like me dead, and I just want them to have good health care.
Yep.
And the broken system that allows a scumbag, a Russian plant like Jill Stein to show up every 4 years just to make sure that Putin gets his chosen candidate. I mean, she does nothing. She's done nothing. She's allegedly what, the Green Party? What has she done? What has she promised to do? Nothing except hand an election to the worst person in the history of humanity. Like, seriously? Like, I don't, like, what? I just don't even know what we're doing anymore. And obviously, I think our faith was misplaced. And again, we don't know yet what's going to happen. But we should not even be having this conversation at all. And there's so many people to blame. So far outside of not just my comfort zone,
Brian,
but
are you okay? Brian, are you okay?
I'm dealing with my nephew. I'm trying to talk him off a ledge. Yes, I'm sorry.
No, I'm worried. I saw you looked. I worried. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm good as always. But let me do this. I'll be right back with you guys.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
listen, I mean, a lot of people are on ledges tonight, and as we should be, because it's just brutal. It's brutal. There's no other way to put it. But
one, she ran a great campaign. It was a flawless campaign in most respects. Two, we had this turnout machine that just seemed to be fantastic. And when I saw all these people flooding into Pennsylvania, especially, armies of them doing the door knocking and what looked to be, and while his turnout campaign was ridiculous. And then I just had to believe that the Madison Square Garden hate fest would have an impact. And in Pennsylvania, I thought, all these Puerto Ricans, they can't possibly support this horror story. So I felt pretty good about it. And I thought the polls were wrong because they did not take into account new voters, and they were using an old model, and I didn't have much trust in them to begin with. And it turns out they may be wrong, that they thought it was close, and it may not be as close as we had imagined. But I'm just seeing that she's winning New Jersey by 4 points.
What the fuck?
How this is not just a handful of states. And
you know what this is? This is literally people deciding that they just don't care anymore. I don't know what they think they're getting out of this. But they just don't care about other people anymore. And I do not know how else to put it. I just don't. I'm gobsmacked. I'm horrified. I just and how anybody could think that not supporting Ukraine 100% is not the right thing to do, and that has been the Republican position. And now our ally is going to become even more vulnerable. And then, of course, NATO will be increasingly vulnerable. And this is something, and look, a large part of this is because American voters are so ignorant and uneducated. They do not understand foreign policy. They don't care about our position in the world. They just think, oh, America's the best. Everybody should just speak English. Like, seriously, I'm not kidding. Like, they literally think that, somehow only being able to speak one language is a better way to be, right? They don't get it. And when Donald is just like, oh, if you don't pay, then you don't deserve to be protected, as if that's how anything works. It's not. So now Ukraine's vulnerable, our NATO allies are vulnerable, and what people do not understand is that we will destroy Western liberal democracy.
I have a question. If
actually-
Donald Trump ends up winning this race and he's already said that it's rigged, are we gonna? What's that mean? That's
No,
Yeah,
he's
well-
always said that it's only rigged if he loses.
yes.
Exactly. It's only rigged if he loses.
Guys, there are people in our who are watching, our friends in the chat, who are getting seriously depressed. And here's the deal:
It's not over
we're
yet.
telling you it's not over yet, and we are speaking to you. We're reacting as you're reacting, and
We're reacting
I had
as
the
human
feelings,
beings, basically.
and I've had my feelings wash over me, and I'm readjusting. I am not moving to Canada. I am staying here because I can do that. And if someone wants to arrest me or round me up, I will resist. I don't feel like I'm in the crosshairs. I'm not the same as a variety of other people, and I will stay. And if we need to reconstruct America, Parliament, whatever. I mean, no one wants for interesting times, but I have children I love. I have, a job I love. Hopefully there'll be something left of the rule of law. I care deeply about the people around me. Quiet. And, we will see. I mean, maybe Donald will decline so quickly that they get JD Vance in there, and he's a total asshole, but I don't think he wants to be a dictator. And then we try again. I mean, the trouble with democracy is people vote, right? Ironically, this is what happens. People vote, and this is what they chose. And I know we say there'll never be another election. Well, I don't know. I'm going to stick around and see. I'm not going anywhere.
We have met the enemy, and it is us.
There you go. We have met the enemy, and he is us. Or if you prefer your George Carlin, you get the government you deserve, and you get it often.
And guys, right now we have to be honest. We are in shock because we did not think this was going to happen. And we're frustrated and angry and devastated. And we're not going to sugarcoat it. But we're not going to lie to you about what we think. And I really did come in bullish. I really did think she was going to win, and she still might. That's not over. But I'm not going to ever pretend something other than it is. And I want you not to give up. Please, please, please don't give up.
Or remember what I'll leave you with this, what my mom used to say, and it was from the old Dick Van Dyke Show. Never lose your sense of humor or your thumbs. We lost you, Mary.
Yeah.
What about the thumbs? She's talking to someone in her ear.
I never. That's Dick Van Dyke Show. He has a dream. He goes to the Twilo Zone. He's dealing with Danny Thomas as the head Twilo guy, and all the Twilo guys have lost their sense of humor and their thumbs, so they're walking around with no thumbs. So the saying is, never lose your sense of humor or your thumbs.
Brian, Steve. All right, I am gonna head off, guys. I think there's nothing.
I gotta head off for a bit and deal with a personal thing, but I'll be back. Hang in there, guys. It's not over yet.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna have to go to sleep because I'll be here. I gotta do my show.
All right, so we're gonna call it. We're gonna call it tonight.
Mary, you okay?
No, I am not. But I'm not okay. I'm not okay by any stretch of the imagination. There's no reason I should be okay. There's no reason any of us should be okay. But I will say this: we live to fight another day. And just, as a human being, I am so deeply, deeply sorry that this is where we are. I'm completely, even if we win, I mean, obviously, if we win, I'll feel much better. But the fact that this is so close is just utterly devastating. And what I will say is that it is just a devastating commentary on how people in power choose to manipulate people who trust them. I hope when we meet again tomorrow, we will have better news. If we don't have better news, then we'll just have to start sharing our plans to relocate.
Oh boy.
Woohoo.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I love you.
Love you both.
And I don't know, man.
That's how I think that's a good ending. I don't know, man.
I don't know, man. All right, guys.
Coming up next on America's
Get
Most
some
Wanted.
sleep,
I
okay?
don't know, man.
All right. Ciao.
Later.